Hey y'all, welcome back. This week I have some super easy and delicious budget-friendly recipes. So let's head on into the kitchen and let's make some delicious meals. Alright you guys, we are starting this week out with making some pizza. Now I love pizza in all of its forms. It is absolutely delicious. But today we're going to be making some grilled pizzas. I think this is one of my favorite ways to make pizza because it's absolutely delicious and very, very easy. So I've got some pre-made dough here. You can do store-bought or you can make your own. I've got it already shaped just to fit my pan. I'm going to drizzle over some oil onto my pan, kind of spread that out a little bit. Add my pizza and let that start cooking on one side for about 2 to 3 minutes. Now that that first side has cooked up, I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the second side, flip that over so the second side can start to cook. While the second side is cooking, we're going to go ahead and add in all of our toppings. I'm going to add some pizza sauce, some parsley, or you can do cilantro. I'm going to add some mozzarella cheese. I had this in the refrigerator that I needed to use up, but you can do shredded mozzarella. That will be just fine. And I'm also going to add some thinly sliced tomatoes on top. Add a little bit of salt and pepper. And then I'm going to cover this up with a pan just to help that cheese melt a little bit. Alright, now that that cheese has melted down a little bit, it's been about 5 minutes, I'm going to remove these to a sheet tray. If you don't have a pan to cover this up, you can just put it on a sheet tray, put it in a 200-degree oven, and they will stay warm and melt that cheese for about 10 to 15 minutes because these are pretty much already cooked. The dough is already cooked. So here's my plate. I just added some pizza to my plate. I had a side of ranch dressing, and these were absolutely delicious. For dinner today, I'm making a super easy dinner. I'm having some sausages, cream of mushroom rice, and some vegetables. Now this is the brand of sausages that I used. This is the Adele's brand. It's really, really good. And I just cooked them according to the package directions. I added some water to the pan with the sausages, cooked that up, drained the rest of the water off, and then I added a little bit of oil to the pan and kind of browned them up on both sides. Once they were nice and golden brown and cooked through, I just removed them to a plate and let them set to the side. Moving on to the cream of mushroom rice. This is something that I used to make a lot when I was a teenager. I loved this. I still do. I make it quite a lot. So to my pot here, I am adding a can of cream of mushroom soup, and I'm gonna kind of get that going and get that a little bit warm. To the can, there's still some mushroom soup left, so I added a little bit of chicken broth to that and kind of swished it around and poured it in with that cream of mushroom soup. And I'm just going to mix that together until everything is well combined and smooth. Now I'm adding in a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese. I'm going to stir that around and make sure that cheese is completely melted. And while the sausages was cooking, I also cooked some white rice. So I'm just going to add that in with the cream of mushroom soup. Give that a toss around and make sure everything is well coated in that soup. And then this is ready to go. Alright you guys, here is my plate. I have the sausages here with the side of cream of mushroom rice, and I just took some green beans and kind of sauteed it up in that leftover sausage grease, seasoned it with a little salt and pepper, and that was good to go. But this was super easy, delicious, and very filling. Alright you guys, next up we are making one pan cheeseburger pasta. This is so easy and so good. To my skillet here, I'm going to add in a little bit of olive oil, some ground beef, onions, and season that with a little bit of salt and pepper. And I'm just going to mix that around and cook this up for about 5 to 8 minutes to cook that ground beef all the way through and those onions get nice and tender. Now that the ground beef is cooked completely through, I'm adding in some flour, and I'm going to kind of mix that in together with that ground beef and let this cook for about a minute or two just to cook out that raw flour taste. To this, I'm going to add in some crushed tomatoes. You can also do tomato puree. You're going to mix this together and you're going to cook that for about 1 to 2 minutes just to bring out the flavor of the tomatoes. Then you're going to add in your beef broth. You're going to mix that together well. Once you get it all mixed together, you're going to add in your pasta. You can use any kind of small pasta that you have on hand. Mix that together. You're going to bring this up to a boil, reduce the heat down to a low, to simmer this for about 15 to 25 minutes, just until that pasta is nice and tender. You're going to want to stir this occasionally to keep that pasta from sticking to the bottom. Okay, now that the pasta has absorbed most of that liquid, I'm going to remove the lid, stir this around, let this cook for about 5 more minutes just to thicken that sauce up a little bit. Then I'm going to add in some grated cheddar cheese and some pickle relish. You can do dill relish or sweet relish, it's really up to you. Mix that in, let this sit here for just a few minutes, and then this is ready to serve. Alright you guys, here is my plate. I have this delicious one pan cheeseburger pasta. This was so good, so easy to make. I paired it with some corn. It is just simply seasoned with a little bit of butter, salt, and pepper. And I've also got some homemade sourdough bread to go with it. So I will leave all of these recipes down in the description box below. So if you want to check those out, check the links in the description box. Alright you guys, we are wrapping up this week with making some delicious Mexican noodle soup. This is so easy. So to my pan here, I've got it over medium-low heat. I've got my big soup pot out. I'm going to add in some avocado oil, and then I'm going to add in my spices. I've got some oregano, chili powder, and some cumin. And I'm going to add that in there, and we're gonna let this kind of toast up and let those spices bloom for about 1 to 2 minutes. Now that those spices are nice and fragrant, I'm going to go ahead and add in some chicken broth, some crushed tomatoes, some paprika, salt, pepper, and a bay leaf. I'm going to mix that around, make sure it's all combined together well, and then I'm going to add in some broken spaghetti pieces. Now you can buy this already broken, or you can just buy regular spaghetti and break it up in pieces and add that in there. And then you're just going to bring this up to a boil, reduce the heat down to a simmer, and you're going to let this simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes just to cook that pasta. Make sure it's nice and tender, and then you're just going to adjust the seasoning, and then this is ready to serve. Alright, you guys, here is my bowl of soup. This was such an easy soup to make, and it definitely did not skimp on flavor. It was absolutely delicious. I topped this with some parsley. You can top it with some cilantro, whatever kind of toppings that you like. I also added some grated cheddar cheese and some pepitas. They kind of sank down into the soup, but it still tasted absolutely delicious. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section down below. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.